struggle. I have said that the battlegrounds is ideological and the war is psychological as it pertains to one's the dominance and control of one's philosophical views. A view is a point, a perspective, and a position that one's take when it comes to the understanding of one's role. That will be his character. Um, and there will be a cast that will consent to that role and support that a supporting cast that uh, of the individual playing a particular role. Filio and Sophie, uh, brother and sister, male and female. Human relations and human relationships. The way we connect and the actual connection itself. What good is the cultural dress or cultural garb without the living reality? Meaning, what good is the to be dressed like a king and don't have a kingdom? I always said that learn that culture is necessary, but it's not sufficient. It is the external therapy. But we want to, many want to compete. The compete in regards to who can out uh, dress, who can out beautify the next individual. And like costume, jewelry, it's just decoration without any depth. I believe that was something that athlete had shared. I mean, it's more, not I don't want to say an athlete, but a thinker has shared. I don't want to relegate anyone to any position that is beneath him or her. The battlegrounds, I say, is ideological. A ideology, a system of ideas and details, especially one which forms the basis of economic or political theory or policy. You could tell the collective psychology of one's mentality by what he or she produces. The science of ideas, the study of their origin and nature. A system of ideas and details, especially one which forms the basis of economic or political theory and policy, and therefore it becomes a justification, a means to an end. This ideology that's justified a means to an end. When it comes to human relations and human relationships, ideas, details that form the basis of economic, political theory and justification of it. It's in a system. We see that when there is no inner cultivation, it becomes a betrayer of of human dignity when it comes to how one will act out in a manner, in a way that which is undignified and inappropriate, and it leads to extreme behavior. Because there is no inner cultivation. It's all external therapy. The garb of a king without a kingdom. The cultural dress without the living reality of the practice. The more I struggle, and for me, the struggle is common sense versus nonsense, and there's two fronts in regression versus progression. In the in this society in which I reside or live on this plane of existence, why would you need a judge to settle your disputes? It seemed to be so primitive, because the individual, under the influence of the culture, uh, and it probably could be a subculture, I don't know. These are not definitions or whatever that or words that I personally have come up with, and I know culture supposedly comes from the word agriculture, and agriculture is associated with the land and it's agrarian in thought. It's that when you have a representative or an attorney or a lawyer to represent your case, of a betrayer who um, have not went through any self introspection or inner cultivation, and he or she would act out, or it would show itself in inappropriate, indecent, and extreme behavior. So the judge is residing over that, and possibly could be bringing, hopefully bringing the individual some awareness that he or she is under the toxic influence and the misguidance of the culture that that does not teach him or her, and maybe it's not its uh, job, the culture, to cultivate, to teach people to have go through inner cultivation, self introspection. So, which means that even justice is a theory from an ideology. So, how do you battle with someone who has a a sense of identity about themselves, who has um, 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 uh, I would say superior knowledge? uh, you cannot battle with him or her if yours is not equal to his or hers. So if someone is in power or in rulership that says that they have some type of superior knowledge, now it's not to a point whereas that you will submit to that superior knowledge, and the people who may have that, they will use that to um, enslave you, and then you come back in reverse and saying that your knowledge is superior than theirs. But it's all about the intent behind in which your people uses their knowledge that will help benefit for the betterment of human relations and human relationships. What is the example of that? We look at the sun. It gives light and energy. That's a utility. And humans use that to make people pay utility bills, and that which is given to us by nature, free of charge. So it is the how we have learned to process what we see and what we use at our disposal, in the intent behind in which we as humans use a thing. Yes. So, in the psychology, I don't know these things, I don't come up with these terms of psychology, the study of the soul, and the soul, the Native Americans would say, and some would say is in the eyes. So it's in the perception. But what if one is unable to see through his pupils? I do not know what an individual is able to uh, envision, huh, when it comes to the the cultivation of his inner self or his inner being, and what will be the results of the manifestation of that. What I do know is that in my own perception of what I see, and when it comes to motivation and environment, is that which I see at times on a frequent basis, it affects me, and not in such a good way, to a point where I can become like the normal. The norm can become normal, and it takes on a sense of uh, detachment, desensitization, and depersonalize, and not having the sufficient amount of empathy. Yes. Yes. So the battlegrounds is ideological, and the war is psychological over when it comes to one's philosophical viewpoints, his or her position, and where he or she would stand. Now I realize that I must have enough sympathy and empathy for myself. I must I must have that, and anyone must have that. To And is that a sacrifice that one has to make for the betterment of him or herself? And what if others who are not willing to make the sacrifice to have more sympathy and empathy, uh, you know, and I'm using these two words, for him or herself, one who has experienced certain things, and one who can, I don't know if it can understand, or the what another person is going through. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you can't understand what a person is going through, because, as a Native American say, uh, you never walked in, my moccasins. So now it is individual experience that one has as a human being, a human person, and that is the identity, the human person. And the way that we relate to one another when it comes to human relations. Human in a linguistic sense, the hue, the carving out from the earth. Relations, associated with a reconnecting with probably, if not one of the greatest source of energy, of brightness, is the sun. And the late part of coming to this understanding, it's a beautiful thing to see the change of thread from night to day, and how the sun just lights up when it rises. It just lights up the whole earth. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. That's the utility. Yes, that is the utility that is given to us freely. It teaches us that the energy that humans have is a guiding light to give light to each other. As we give life, we give life. And the evolving of that is the nurturing. And that which it teaches us is that life is a living organism, always evolving, always growing. Some religious folks call it the Rab. Teach. It was a gentleman who I think made his transition recently. He said, man, he went into the hospital and he said, he was getting ready to make his transition. He just said, man, set me outside where I could see the sunrise one more time. There was a songwriter that says, down here on the ground ain't no place for living. Nature, man, to see this and enjoy this creation, this beautiful creation, without trying to dominate and control, manipulate, malign, demean, degrade, disrespect, dishonor, devalue. Each other. Of being inconsiderate, destructive, and violent. It says that your continence is failing. It's falling down. That means your continence is your confidence. We see that the sun disappears. At least we don't see it in certain time zones. Hmm? And that's another ball game within itself. Your energy goes down when your confidence starts to fall, and you become, in the language now is called depressed, downcast, or downtrodden. Could be misused and abused. Due to your thinking or the influence of the thinkings of other and the influence of the culture. In social comparison, you start to feel less than, while others are celebrated as being greater than. It's all a disguise. It's all an illusion. Because when I see those who were celebrated for their material success, material accomplishments, in a lifeless body, it becomes of no value. It is a common denominator. So what we do while we here with this utility of life, the breath that we breathe, the use of our faculties and our limbs and the texture of our skin, the features of our face, the structure of our lips and our nose, our eyes, our ears, our kidney, our heart, our spleen, and our liver. Just the makeup of life existence and species itself. It really teaches us. In the mineral resources that is in the earth, the life is a utility. The energy that we give off one to another in the best of ways is the light that shines on a daily basis as we assist one another who light has become dim. And when our light becomes brighter, it will brighten the light of others. And therefore, they would choose to continue to live life and live it in the best of ways by cultivating our inner self, our inner being. Yet, there's more to this life and plane of existence that is yet to be heard and to be seen. Until next time.